Elk is fishing by the lake when a weird old guy pops up, asking if the kid wants to learn actual magic. Who says no to magic? Elk starts training every day with Eldies, who's actually a serious pro mage. Eventually, Eldies decides to teach Elk defensive fire magic, meant for protecting people. It was tough, but Elk finally nailed it. Elk was bummed it took a whole day, but Eldies told him most people take a month, so he needs to quit whining. Elk begged for more, but Eldies cut him off, saying that's enough magic and they should go fish. Elk agreed, even though he clearly wanted more. Eldies laughed, praising the kid's raw talent. He'd probably be great, even without a teacher. That made Elk pause. Then why bother teaching me? He asked. Eldies smiled, but a tug on his fishing line killed the deeper conversation instantly. The next day, training resumed. Eldies handed him a textbook, but it was more confusing than advanced calculus. But after a few months, he finally started getting it. Then one morning, Eldies dropped the bomb. He's leaving town and can't train Elk anymore. Before bouncing, Eldies gave Elk one final warning. You have caught mage talent, but if they offer the job, refuse it. It's a total trap. Confused, Elk asked why Eldies even bothered teaching him then. Eldies said Elk's mom once helped him, so training her kid was his way of repayment. Years later, Elk enrolled at the Royal Academy. He found an old yearbook showing Eldies was a top student and court mage before getting banished from the kingdom. Elk instantly decided to be a court mage to clear Eldies' name, completely ignoring the old man's very specific, dire warning. Guess what happens? Elk gets banished. He joined the hero party with Crown Prince Regulus, a mage named Lenny, and a knight. But mid-mission, Regulus suddenly fired him. Elk was stunned. Regulus claimed everyone else had cool roles while he swung swords. Lenny blasted magic, and the knight blocked. Elk only cast boring support spells, which, to the prince, made him completely and utterly useless. Elk tried explaining logic, but Regulus, who hasn't had a smart thought in years, wasn't listening. He told Elk to leave. Ironically, Elk never wanted to join them. The king ordered it, and you don't refuse the king. Now the insecure prince, who banned commoners from carrying weapons, was calling Elk weak. Even dumped, Elk still wanted to help. He delivered strategy notes to the castle, only to discover he'd been stripped of his court title and blocked at the door. Then Lenny showed up to mock him. She'd always been jealous of Elk's popularity back at the academy. When Elk asked her to deliver a letter, she ripped it up and told the guards to toss him out. Elk spent 4 years trying to fix the corrupt system, but absolutely nothing changed. Then he heard a familiar voice. It was Yora. She hugged him, completely shocked. Sitting by the canal, Elk explained everything. Furious at the kingdom, Yora ranted until Elk finally calmed her down. Then she smiled. Being fired meant he was free to join her party. Elk simply agreed. The next morning, they left for Thistle City. Elk recalled Eldies' warning, wondering if life would have been easier if he'd listened. Back home, Prince Regulus bragged about finally dumping the commoner mage. Lenny cheered, claiming a noble replacement would clear dungeons way faster. Spoiler, they're gonna regret it. Days later, they reached Thistle, a city where nobles and commoners actually chill together. Yora called it Adventurer Paradise and led Elk to the guild. Then trouble started. The receptionist said Elk needs a license for deep dungeons, which requires a 2-year waiting period. Worse, Yora's teammate had already pissed off the guild, so nobody wanted to help them. Yora was frustrated. They'd reached floor 52 but now faced a stupid 2-year delay. She shrugged it off. Why complain? We'll explore what we can. Later, they entered a dungeon and faced a swarm of football-sized red hornets. Yora boosted Elk, too many enemies though. Elk realized something disturbed their nest. Yora charged ahead, totally ignoring him. You've gotten soft, Elk. Remember who you were before the court. That worked. Elk unleashed massive fire blasts and a thunderbolt, instantly wiping out the hornets. Suddenly, the ground shook. A giant earthworm erupted, coiling tightly around Yora. Is your defense still academy-level, Elk? Yora yelled. Only if your attack magic is still insane. Trusting her shields, Elk summoned a fire tornado, engulfing Yora and the monster. The worm turned to ash. Yora stood unharmed, grinning. Your magic is still insane, she laughed. Let's get the team back together, just like old times. Back in the day, Elk was in a legendary team. Orni's the warrior, Crazier the archer, Yora the support, and Elk the attacker. On graduation day, they shattered records by clearing the 68th floor and taking top ranks. Walking home, Elk dropped a bombshell. He wasn't joining their party. He was becoming a court mage. His friends were bummed, especially Orni's. They could have truly formed the strongest team ever. But they respected it. Yura made it clear she wouldn't give up on recruiting him eventually. Back to the present, Yura officially welcomes Elk aboard. To celebrate, they feast, and she gets wasted after one single beer. While she sleeps, Elk uses magic to cover her up. A stranger appears, mocking how sweet and considerate Elk is for an adventurer. Elk ignores him, ticking the guy off, so he smashes a bottle. Luckily, Elk blocks it with magic. Before Elk attacks, the man names him and slides a dungeon pass over as an apology for the test. Elk is confused until a groggy Yura wakes up and identifies the crazy guildmaster. The guildmaster, Leviel, invites Elk to spar at the training center. Turns out, Leviel is a former S-ranker. Elk knows it's tough, but it's the perfect chance to practice. The fight starts. Elk fires a thunderbolt, but Leviel dodges and counters with water. Long range fails, so Elk charges in. Leviel buffs himself, becoming a terrifying blur of speed and power. Elk barely blocks a punch, getting launched into a wall. Instead of quitting, he laughs. As a court mage, he only supported. As an adventurer, he can go wild. He turns his wand into a sword, slashing through water attacks and countering the dash with thunder. Leviel's impressed but not done. He activates ancient gauntlets, capable of cratering the floor with one punch. One hit means death, so Elk strikes fast. Unfortunately, Leviel's artifact heals him. The longer this fight drags on, the worse it gets for poor Elk. Elk taunts him into attacking recklessly, leaving Leviel open for a slash. Shields shatter, the ground cracks, and finally, with one last desperate move, Elk lands the blow. He collapses immediately after, completely and totally spent. Leviel admits he went overboard and declares Elk the winner. Ornies arrives, teasing Leviel for using his ultimate weapon in a simple, friendly sparring match. Leviel shrugs, was fun. He hands Elk the pass, promising support as long as Elk doesn't sue. As Elk rests, Yura and Ornies discuss his super rough past. At the castle, commoners like Elk faced endless snobbery and unfairness. Surviving there was its own battle. The receptionist rushes in with bad news. Leviel leaves, strictly warning them not to touch his very expensive alcohol. Naturally, Ornies immediately grabs the fanciest bottle he can find, just to annoy him. He turns to Yura, all right, spill the tea. Ornies demands the full scoop. And honestly, it is ugly. Life at the royal castle was straight up miserable. His job was protecting the prince, but he couldn't use weapons or strong magic because it might bruise the royal brat's fragile ego. He was basically a glorious pack mule carrying their luggage, forced to only cast support spells while they took all the glory. Then the prince called him useless for obeying orders. Ornies is confused since Elk is an attack mage. Yura explains he spent years mastering boring support magic just to appease the whiny prince, ignoring his own talent. Hearing this, Ornies is ready to march back and punch the prince in the face. Elk gets in the way. He admits it stings, but wasting energy on revenge is not his style. He prefers adventuring with his actual friends. Besides, karma will eventually destroy the prince anyway. No one cleans his messes now. Ornies gets it. If they become the world's strongest team, the prince will regret everything. When the prince crawls back, Elk can finally tell him to get lost. Elk likes that. They fist bump, swearing to reach the top together. Meanwhile, a survivor from an S-rank party is getting patched up nearby. She tells the guildmaster it is a disaster. Her team is trapped on floor 64. Leviel calls for an emergency rescue team, but the only people available are the ones already sitting in the guild. Everyone looks nervous knowing that floor is deadly. Meanwhile, Elk sits alone, bruised and bandaged from his earlier sparring match with Leviel. Crezia finds him and casts restoration magic. She reminds him that he actually belongs here now. Years of silence made him quiet. Breaking that habit takes some real time. She pats his head, and Elk finally feels genuinely safe for once. Moments later, Ornies and Yura return, grinning like idiots. Ornies announces their first big mission, the dungeon called Tank Killer. Why? Because healing magic fails inside. Only potions can keep you alive. Crezia hates this since she is a healer, but Ornies pressured her into it. Elk worries he is useless, but Yura interrupts him. You kidding? You carry this team. We cannot start without you. Just like that, they head into their first dangerous mission. Episode 2 is done.